Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. This week, we're talking NASCAR Truck Series. That's right. It's been under a lot of different names. Craftsman. You got Camping World. You got Gander
Mountain.
Gander Mountain. But now it's Craftsman Truck again. This is for you real oval heads out there, and I'm not talking elongating scalps. You've been asking for it. We're going to talk about some really cool cars in this episode, some really cool drivers. Here we go. Pickup trucks have been the most popular vehicle in America for decades, but their popularity started expanding from work trucks to family transport in the 1990s. All of a sudden, leather upholstery, bucket seating, rear access doors, and automatic four-wheel drive made F-150s, Sierras, and Rams a reasonable option for average consumers, even those who didn't have a boat to tow or bales of hay to haul, at least when gas was 99 cents a gallon. Around the same time, trucks became almost as popular in motorsport. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, inaugurated in 1995 as the Super Truck Series presented by Craftsman, marked the first time that the National Association of Stock Car Racing branched out beyond the coupe and sedan bodies that had dominated the sport since 1949. Like contemporary Monte Carlo, Thunderbird, and Grand Prix stock cars, the F-150 and Chevy CK-shaped racers shared hardly anything with their showroom equivalents, but people still love seeing them screaming around the oval. What makes these big, fast trucks so special? And how important is the series in the grand scheme of NASCAR and auto racing as a whole? And who were the oddballs who thought to put pickups on a banked oval anyway? Well, we're going to find out. This week on Past Gas, it's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Past Gas Podcast. It's about cars, it's not about forts.
Big thanks to Indeed for sponsoring this episode of Past Gas. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/pastgas. Just go to Indeed.com/pastgas right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/pastgas. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Hey, don't you talk smack about my oddball, brother.
Hey, I'm not an oddball.
You're kind of an oddball. No, you're not.
I mean, you're an oddball. You're an oddball.
Wow,
What?
dude. Shots fired.
I think everyone here's an
called
oddball.
Yeah, in some way, for sure.
Life's too short to not be an oddball. That's what I say.
That's good advice, honestly.
Yeah.
That's Freddie Mercury was like, I don't care what I'm remembered for. I just don't want to be remembered for being boring. He raised rabbits in his free time. He had all
cool.
these crazy hobbies. I always appreciated that.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury would have loved the Craftsman Truck Series, I think.
Yeah, just because it's like a little off.
It's a little off.
Yeah.
You got to be a little off to drive one of these things. Welcome to Past Gas. Actually, I don't know if you have to be off to drive one of these things.
You got to be pretty on.
You got to be on. That's right. Dude.
Yeah.
Nice, Joe. Welcome back to Past Gas, everybody. My name is Nolan Sykes, joined as always by Joe Weber.
What's up, Slug Nation? It's your slime lord.
And joining us this week, Jimmy Hilton. What's
Hey,
up?
guys.
Hey.
I'm not the oddball. You are.
Dude, this week we're talking about the Truck Series, which I'm very excited to talk about.
Yeah.
I didn't know until very recently that it was like around the 90s. And watching vintage truck racing and seeing the older style, like OBD style trucks racing on ovals is very cool.
What does OBD stand for?
That's a style of body style for Ford. It's like
okay.
pretty hot right now. People love their OBD trucks, but it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
They
You
look
guys,
sick.
have you guys ever watched Truck Series racing?
I've seen highlights, and it is crazy. Like, these trucks shouldn't be going that fast.
No.
That's my hot take.
I've got a couple online buddies, Brad Perez and Will Rogers. They're NASCAR drivers.
The guy who owns the beach?
Not the guy who owns the beach.
Okay.
Good.
I thought you meant
Local
like
reference.
people you play Xbox with when you
No.
online
These
friends.
are semi-pro racers. Will actually, he helped us in a video years ago when we did the NASCAR experience at Las Vegas Speedway.
Yes, I remember
he was
that.
the pro in the video, Will Rogers, and then Brad Perez. I've never actually met Brad in person, but we talk a lot online. We used to. I don't have Twitter anymore, so I don't DM people. You know,
Yeah,
you know.
you're DMing on Threads.
But, you
now.
know, I'll respond to his stories every once in a while.
Haha emoji.
These trucks they're loose. They don't got a lot of, that means they're tail happy.
Oh, yeah.
You got a loose truck, you got a loose car, it's like slidey. You got a tight car.
They can slide out
it's
on you.
understeer. That's what they call that.
Yeah.
So anyway, these things are wild. They're hairy. They're American.
I was surprised at how much crossover there is. Like, it makes sense that a NASCAR driver goes over to do the truck series.
Well, it's almost part of the ladder. You've got younger drivers, like teenagers,
yeah.
racing, like trying to prove their worth, get eyes on them. You also got like guys literally in like their 60s racing against them sometimes.
That's wild.
That's an ARCA. Typically, the next step up from that is the Xfinity series, which is the cars look a little more like contemporary stock cars. They still have like the 5-lug system, not center lock wheels. They're kind of like what the NASCARs used to look like 2 years ago. The chassis are very similar to that. And then if you don't move up to the Cup series, the top series, you're kind of, if you're a driver that's still looking to get into the Cup series, but also looking to keep their skills sharp and still be fighting for championships, you're either in the Xfinity series or the Truck series. And sometimes NASCAR drivers will even come down to race in the Truck series as well to also keep their skills sharp. It's very common for these racing teams to have a truck division within their team.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Either as like a minor league kind of deal, like a farm for young drivers, or just for keeping your skills sharp.
Raja races
Carruth,
in the truck series.
That's right. He's crushing right now.
He's crushing.
He's doing a great job.
Didn't Frankie Muniz say he was going to
He was in ARCA.
For years, we've been saying that Frankie Muniz like got a bunch of brain damage from racing. He just came out, not recently, but like he was like, no, I was like a kid and I was working a ton. Yeah. That's why I couldn't remember full seasons of shooting Malcolm in the Middle.
That's true. I think we did take that at face value.
We took it and ran with it.
We definitely did.
So Frankie, if you're hearing this right now,
I'm sorry.
I apologize. Please come on the podcast. If we're
he
in the
would
same
be a
town.
great guest on the Big Three.
Dude,
because
that'd
he
be
is
awesome.
in the Xfinity series. I'd love to talk to him about that, his experience with that.
Yeah, we will not mention Malcolm in the Middle at all.
Unless you bring it up.
Your choice.
Okay, let's talk about some trucks, huh, gents?
I'd love to talk about trucks.
Oh, I should have worn my trucks hat. Damn it.
It's not like we don't have any in the office.
It's all right. All right. So, since it came about back in 1995, the Craftsman Truck Series has been NASCAR's third-tier racing league after today's Xfinity Series and the creme de la creme, the Cup Series. It usually races at the same tracks as those other groups, usually on the same weekends. But watching a race on television isn't as easy as it is with NASCAR's other two national series. So it's not as popular.
Yeah.
They don't get broadcast as much. But for those who love contrast, it's pretty great. After all, when most road legal pickups are limited to around 100 miles per hour or so, NASCAR's trucks can hit 180 miles per hour.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this car and driver article. It seems here that the drive shafts on a lot of pickup trucks are actually the limiting factor in their top speed.
They're dealing with a lot of torque, a lot of weight.
Interesting.
The wheels are also limited. Like the new EV Hummer is limited to 105 miles per hour because it's super heavy. So it needs like burly tires.
That thing weighs like 7,000 pounds,
I didn't
right?
know that.
9,000 pounds.
9,000.
And the tires are dealing with extreme stress at those speeds. So it's limited to 105.
That's crazy. Anyway, like most stock cars since the 1990s, Craftsman racers start with a tube frame chassis that's built to spec. And until recently, each manufacturer that participated would provide its own 358 cubic inch or 5.86 liter Jimmy V8 engine. Power output for the carbureted pushrod motors would be around 650 horsepower with 4-speed manual transmissions.
Damn.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's gnarly. 650 on a carbed motor, and you're going 100. Jeez.
That's crazy.
Woo.
I love it.
Yeah, things changed a bit for the 2019 season when a spec engine manufactured by Ilmor became available. Displacing 376 cubic inches and featuring fuel injection, the more reliable and cheaper engine quickly supplanted manufacturer-supplied engines across the board. Bizarrely, the Ilmor 6.2-liter crate engine is based on a licensed LS design, a GM design. So now every truck, whether it's wearing Ford, Toyota, or Chevrolet bodywork, is running a GM small block engine.
Wow. 1,000 IQ move on GM there.
Now, there is some argument among teams and fans whether the Ilmor crate engine makes for better or worse racing than manufacturer-supplied spec engines, but making the trucks largely similar does help good drivers stand out from the crowd a bit more. Because if everyone's running the same motor, that's less of a variable. You know, it's a spec series, more or less now, which is pretty cool.
It's just based on skill instead
it's
of
all about
like
the drivers.
engineering of every individual team.
Also, car setup counts for so much in stock car racing. Like, if you're on a bigger team that has more of a budget, they can probably hire people that know more about car setup. You know, if you don't have people on your team that are experienced in this series for a long time and don't know how to perfectly dial in these things, you're going to have a tough weekend. I got to spend one weekend with Ryan Vargas a couple years ago at California Speedway with his team, and he was running pretty well. I think his car might have broke down or something. But anyway, you know, he's on a smaller team with a very small budget, you know, a lot of young guys, and they, you know, at that time, they just didn't have like the experience to really nail the setups every time. Also, you know, some of these teams will pay $50,000, $75,000 a weekend to rent basically a motor from a shop.
Oh, wow.
That's set up like really nice, like dialed in and making, you know, 10, 20 more horsepower than a smaller, a lesser motor. And that can make a huge difference too.
So they're outsourcing a little bit of engineering to these shops.
Oh yeah.
Just to save time.
Yeah, because not every single team, you know, in the Xfinity series and the Craftsman series, like there's 30 to 40 drivers on the grid. So that's like, what, 20 teams probably? A lot of these teams are running multiple cars. 20 teams, they don't all have shops that are building their motors themselves. That's incredibly expensive. So they'll outsource it, like you said, Joe.
That's wild to rent an engine.
I know. Yeah.
That the idea that
And then if you blow it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you gave it to me blown.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to pay for this.
Hey, did you fill up the engine with gas before you returned it?
It's just like
get
spewing
charged.
gas.
Yeah. So, sorry, there's better parity with a spec motor. And now it's like the drivers can shine more if they're highly skilled. And also the teams can shine more if they have the experience to set these cars up.
That makes sense.
So, except for the crate engine's newfangled fuel injection, the trucks are still decidedly low spec. They've got push rods, as we mentioned. They have 4-speed manual transmissions and solid rear axles that are still the order of the day. And the Craftsman series still uses billboard-style Goodyear balloon tires mounted on 5-lug steel wheels, not the center-lock wheels and low-profile tires of the more modern NASCAR next-gen Cup car. Despite some aux cart technology, these trucks still run on a variety of racetracks. The 2024 season includes 100 laps of Daytona and 94 laps of Talladega, 2 super speedway banked ovals that require drafting, careful tire and fuel management, and aggressive passing to cross the line first. But the trucks also showed up for 42 laps of the Circuits of the Americas,
Oh, tight.
one of the most challenging road courses in the world. Dude, it's hilarious to watch the truck series in particular do road courses
Go through
like,
the S's.
like Coda and
Fishtail.
Daytona.
Yeah.
Especially Daytona, it always seems to rain like that weekend. So sometimes they're just like sliding. It's a shit show.
Coda has
Daytona
some
Rain
tight-
sounds like either a stripper name or like a wrestler name.
Daytona Rain.
Daytona Rain. Coda's got some tight turns too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That must be wild in a truck.
Yeah,
that
that far
probably
hairpin.
like drifting out. Oh,
I feel like these days, a lot of the younger drivers, they spend a lot of time on iRacing. Also, karting is like pretty, I won't say trendy, but a lot of these oval kids, they do karting as well. So the perception of these oval guys not being good at road courses and only being able to turn left, I mean, that's like the layperson would still think that, but a lot of these kids, they're recognizing the value of road courses now that every NASCAR series goes to a road course at some point.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
And it's not like you boot up the sim and you're just driving ovals all the time. Like that gets boring. If you're playing sims already, you're going to
you do another course.
In 2020 though, back in quarantine times, I was hitting ovals like
doing endurance races.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is that like the multiplayer where there's like other teams?
Yeah. And like at first I never really understood the appeal of oval racing until you do it in a sim and you're like, you're just going around an oval a bunch of times, but there's so much more to that. Like you're in a pack
It's
at all
so
times.
nuanced.
There's all these cars around you.
Yeah.
Tire management is like super important. It's a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
I
you're
bet
drafting.
getting to do it in real life must be so nerve-wracking.
Oh,
There's
I know.
a series on Twitch. It's called Moon Car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I raced in that once, I think.
That's
Yeah,
so fun.
Moon Car is like, it's crazy how popular they got. Yeah. That's so cool.
Big thanks to OnX Offroad for sponsoring this episode of Past Gas. OnX Offroad is the most trusted off-roading and snowmobiling app for those who like to travel off pavement, find hidden trails, and camp where nobody's watching. OnX helps you see what you're getting into with pictures, descriptions, difficulty ratings, and open and close dates. With 3 membership tiers, you're sure to find something that works for you. The free app includes satellite, topo, and hybrid maps, as well as the ability to track your trips. But upgrade to premium and you'll be able to download unlimited offline maps, featured trails, but one of my favorite features on OnX Elite is the ability to look up private land ownership. That means you can look up all the land that is owned and you're not supposed to go on, and then the rest is free to explore. It's really a cool app. I use it when I'm off-roading. I think you should too. So check out OnX Offroad. It takes out all the guesswork from planning an adventure, even when your plan isn't so planned. Download OnX Offroad today to get a free 2-week trial of OnX Elite. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. I take a lot of pride in my driving. I'm very safe behind the wheel. So why should I pay the same rate as someone who isn't? It just doesn't make sense. With Allstate, the more safely you drive, the less you'll pay. Who doesn't want to pay a rate based on your own safe driving? You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Rates and potential savings vary, terms and conditions apply. In some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, though. What we'll refer to as the Craftsman Truck Series has actually had a few different names thanks to various presenting sponsors. The most famous is obviously Craftsman, which ran the show from 1995 to 2008. A new title sponsor called it the Camping World Truck Series from 2009 to 2018, then switched its moniker to a subsidiary in 2019 and 2020 as the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, reverting to the Camping World branding in 2021. So
Camping.
And finally, Stanley Black & Decker, the new owners of the Craftsman brand after Sears declared bankruptcy, bought their title rights, which is maybe when the quality of Craftsman tools started going downhill.
Maybe earlier than that. Black & Decker, though, I haven't heard that name in forever.
I know. Yeah. All that's old is new again, and since 2022, we've been enjoying the Craftsman Truck Series every race weekend. Back to the original name.
Let's go.
Let's go back in time.
But it was that first NASCAR Super Truck race called the 1995 Skull Bandit Copper World Classic in Phoenix, Arizona, that broke the Speedway's previous attendance record by a whopping 10,000 people for 38,000 spectators total.
Wow.
Sick name.
Yeah. Skull Bandit.
Copper World.
What is this, a Mad Max race?
Skull Bandit Copper.
You got any copper? While putting pickups on a bank speedway was clearly a popular idea at the time, its genesis is rather unexpected because it came from folks who were more used to seeing racing trucks caked in dust and mud rather than road grime and rubber marbles.
Dude, you can watch this whole race on YouTube right now. It's on NASCAR's official channel. 51 minutes long.
And it's the one from 1995?
95, yeah.
That's the Skull Bandit Copper World?
Skull Bandit Copper World Classic.
Believe it or not, NASCAR's third most prestigious stock car series started out as the brainchild of 4 off-road racing legends keen to shine a brighter light on truck racing. Those fellows were named Dick Landfield, Jimmy Smith, Jimmy Venable, and Frank Scoop Vessels, veterans of the Southern California off-road enthusiasts, the sanctioning body known as SCORE International.
Shit. That's crazy.
That's wild.
That holds the Baja 500 and Baja 1000 off-road races.
Way.
You're going to do the Baja 500?
The Nora.
We're doing the Nora 500 for the with the Ranger.
Yeah.
So Nora was actually the organization that put on the first Baja race.
Okay.
And then SCORE bought the rights to that race in the 80s, I think. It's in our episode.
Yeah.
Nora went away for a while, and now they're back, and it's more of like a chiller atmosphere compared to the SCORE series, or the SCORE race, the 1000.
The 1000 can get pretty bro-y and competitive.
Well, I mean, it's one of the premier off-road races in the world. It's very serious. There's serious prize money on the line.
$100 gift card to Papa's and beer.
compared to Nora, yeah. But we'll be doing it, in October.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So
The
look out for
weekend
that.
of my birthday, too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No, well.
Don't dox yourself,
Sorry, dude.
Jimmy. Number one rule, don't dox yourself.
Sorry, guys.
People are going to be able to use that information now to triangulate your location and find you.
I was doing a bit last month. Because I found out that social security numbers are, the first three numbers are based on the state that you were born in.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And so like California has like a range of 60 different ones, but then like Alabama, North Carolina, they all have like one. And so a couple of my friends were from those states. And so I would like memorize which numbers they were. And I was like, I bet I can guess your social security number. And they're like, yeah, right. And then I'd say the first three numbers and they'd be like, okay, stop. It's a good bit.
That's very good.
That's really good.
Worried about the future of their racing series and hoping to bring truck racing to a wider audience, Landfield, Smith, and Venable and Vessels realized that on-road events would pack spectators in by the thousands and give rise to a new form of racing. From dirt to asphalt, trucks were about to join the bleeding edge of high-speed competition.
Dude, I had no idea that was the origin of that.
That's really cool.
Me neither. It seems like so far removed from Baja racing but it is still trucks.
I mean, you would guess that it would be coming from the manufacturer side, especially around this time when the manufacturers know that stricter emissions regulations are on the horizon for trucks. They want to fight that and make trucks more popular with consumers. And maybe you'd expect Detroit to be approaching NASCAR and say, hey, let's do a little deal here. But it's actually from the enthusiast side.
Yeah, this is like the height of the truck wars, right? In the 90s, like you have GMC Typhoon, you've got the Ford Lightning.
Yeah. Ram had just become a brand at that time.
Well, there was the Dodge Ram was the model, and then 1525. But Ram became its own independent company 2009. Okay. So, yeah, a little later than what we're talking about here, but dude, that's cool. But before they even considered the possibility of an on-road truck racing league, these fellows were legends in their own right, competing extensively in off-road events. Scoop was Score's 1972 Rookie of the Year and the 1978 Off-Roadsman of the Year. And in 2007, he was inducted into the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. He won the Baja 1000 several times, including in 1980, when his victory is featured on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Hell yeah.
Outside his involvement in NASCAR and off-road racing, Scoop also led a multi-generational family business breeding American quarter horses, which is the origin of his nickname. Scoop.
How you like scoop oats into a horse's mouth.
Jim Venable, better known in Southern California for his aerial firefighting business, campaigned a Volkswagen in Score in the 1970s. He was also among the first off-road racers to use a chase aircraft to assist in recovering stranded vehicles or spotting upcoming obstacles, a natural fit given his professional aviation background. Look at that.
Cool. Aerial firefighting has to be the coolest profession.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I would be so petrified to like fly low enough to like scoop up water. Oh,
that's the horse guy.
That's the horse guy.
Yeah. This guy's name should be Scoop or maybe Spray.
Maybe.
Water Dump McGee.
That's my nickname, actually.
Oh, dude, you got to eat more fiber.
I know. Jimmy Smith not only helped found the NASCAR Super Truck Series in 95, he was also a successful team owner. Ultra Racing campaigned in both the Craftsman Truck Series and the Winston Cup from 95 to 2005, and today, Jimmy Smith runs the Ultra Wheel Company, known for its lineup of motorsports-style truck and off-road wheels. Before his tenure at NASCAR, Smith took the first ever Score trophy truck victory at the 1994 Baja 1000, and the Ultra Wheel Company restored that truck to race-ready condition in 2021.
Oh, they actually make pretty sick wheels, and they're affordable.
That truck is so cool.
That's a really, really cool livery on there, mate. Dick Landfield was another off-road motorsports Hall of Famer in 2007. Landfield first raced in the 1968 Baja 500 in a race-prepped Ford Bronco, and he continued to compete until 1986. In 2018, Landfield and Bill Savage, another Hall of Famer, competed in the NORA Mexican 1000 as Team Old, or Ormhoff Loves Dirt.
What's Ormhoff?
I don't know. That's definitely an inside joke.
Off-road racing motorsport Hall of Fame loves dirt.
Oh, nice. This formidable foursome approached NASCAR in 1991 with a simple idea. Take the burgeoning popularity of truck racing and bring it to a wider audience. They first pitched the concept of a truck racing series to Ken Clapp, NASCAR's vice president for Western operations. Clapp took the idea to NASCAR president Bill France, but according to a 1995 story in the Seattle Times, the discussion didn't go anywhere. Vessels, Venable, Smith, and Landfield returned to the stock car racing giant once again in 1993 and were told that NASCAR would need to see a working prototype in order to consider the idea.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Want to see it before they buy it, you know? Yeah.
Can you guys build a truck?
Oh, shit.
Enter Gary Collins. A friend of Venable and Vessels, Collins raced stock cars and had a successful fabrication business in Bakersfield, California.
Oh.
It's where every truck fabrication guy lives.
Really? Collins worked with the Score off-roaders to come up with the model for a so-called NAS truck. I'm glad that name didn't stick.
Me too. NASCAR? How about a nasty truck?
Yeah, nasty truck.
That's a nice car. I feel like every car guy has gotten that birthday card at one point. Have you ever seen that one where it's like two like rednecks? It's like, yeah, that's a nice car. How did NASCAR get its name? That's what it was. How did NASCAR get its name? On the front, and then you open up. Anyway, you know.
That's a birthday card?
Yeah, I've gotten that like twice.
Nice. At least people understand your vibe, dude.
Yeah, that's why I want to branch out and start doing other things. Not like entertainment speaking, but, other hobbies that my family could know me by. How about a nice
cat card?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather get a car card than a cat card.
What about a surfing card?
Surfing? I've tried surfing. Anyway, sorry, Joe. Continue.
Ford sent the outer sheet metal of a regular cab short wheelbase F-150 to Collins, who built the prototype chassis structure underneath the skin. First displayed at the 1994 Daytona 500 in February, the truck was a massive hit with spectators. NASCAR officially announced the Super Truck Series in July 1994, with the inaugural race coming the next February, just 1 year after Collins built that first prototype.
Dude, okay, it's not as sexy, but what if someone did build like a tube chassis crossover SUV and being like, hey, we could race these too.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be as cool as big of a paradigm shift as like a truck, seeing a truck, a NAS truck.
Yeah. But before the series would officially begin, NASCAR's new Super Trucks would make their debut in 4 exhibition races in California and Arizona in that summer of 1994. In fact, the first test race of the new series took place at Collins' own circuit, Mesa Marin Raceway in Bakersfield, California.
Mesa Marin.
With 3 more happening in Portland, suburban Los Angeles, and Tucson, Arizona. And in a lucky break for the fledgling series, it was included in cable channel TNN's Winter Heat programming, 8 weeks of off-season NASCAR racing in Arizona to tide stock car fans over until the sports returned in February.
Interesting.
Not even in its first season, Super Trucks had fans all over the country. It's unsurprising.
That's cool. That's a good rollout.
Yeah.
Get people hyped up.
Yeah. Maybe that's why the very first official truck race, the amusingly named Skoal Bandit Copper World Classic, held at the Phoenix International Raceway, attracted a venue record 38,000 fans.
Nice.
Mike Skinner won that inaugural event in his first showing for Richard Childress Racing, the team that counts Dale Earnhardt among its champions.
Nice. Okay.
That checkered flag didn't come easy, though, as it boiled down to a .09 second photo finish between Skinner and Terry LeBlanc.
Skinner! Little Simpsons reference for it.
That wouldn't even be the closest race that season. The Total Petroleum 200 in Dacono, Colorado would come down to a .01 second margin.
Wow.
Because the air is thinner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Through those crash-prone and too close-to-call races, Skinner would take the 1995 championship driving a number 3 black Chevy.
Nice.
Just like the Intimidator, only his was a CK, not a Monte Carlo. The Super Truck Series presented by Craftsman was a hit, and it was here to stay.
Skinner! That's awesome. That's sick, dude. Hey, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all carry around different stressors, both big and small, and when we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. I experienced this weekend when I was trying to clean some stuff up. I don't really have enough room in my house for all my clothes. It really stresses me out. The best way to deal with stress is with therapy. Therapy is a safe place to get things off your chest and figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. Where better to get your therapy than BetterHelp? It's helpful to learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. Therapy isn't just for people who've experienced major trauma. So, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you gotta do is just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/passgas today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/passgas. Thank you, BetterHelp.
Big thanks to Indeed for sponsoring this episode of Pass Gas. We're driven by the search for better. When it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. One of the things that I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy. They have tools for every little thing. As someone who hires people constantly, it does make it easier. That's why Indeed is so great. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/passgas. Just go to Indeed.com/passgas right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/passgas. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
But in addition to bringing a new body style and some new fans to the NASCAR fold, the Craftsman Truck Series also brought some innovation and forward thinking to the sport. For example, that inaugural season was the first time in any major NASCAR series that the green-white checkered flag rule was used. What it did was, if the race technically ended under a yellow flag, the race would extend for 2 laps of the track after the caution lifted. That meant that the race would almost always end with some drama and speed, rather than a tepid idle across the finish line behind a pace car. Fans loved it, and the green-white checkered flag rule extended to the NASCAR Cup races starting in 2004, so very much ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Ahead of the oval. And while you might be tempted to think of truck racers as some sort of we die like men types who eschew safety features like seatbelts and sober driving, wow, what a shot at truck drivers. The Craftsman Series was also the first major NASCAR league to implement closed-loop oiling systems in 2010, meaning there didn't need to be a member of the pit crew dedicated to the catch can. Interesting. This meant only 6 people went over the wall instead of 7, improving safety for the boots on the ground.
They call Jimmy the catch can boy, but that's for different reasons.
Yeah. It's a little something going on in the shop there. Don't worry about it. I gotta feel bad though for the catch can guy.
Yeah.
Like they were like, hey, sorry,
Yeah,
we can't have you back next year.
Sorry, robots do your job now.
The other 2 major NASCAR series adopted closed loop in 2011, but again, the trucks did it first, baby.
Trucks did it first.
Trucks did it first.
Trucks first.
That's a t-shirt. No, it's not.
Trucks did it first.
It's funny to use innovation to describe a series that makes use of 4-speed manual transmission and carbureted pushrod V8s, but that just goes to show that sometimes there's more going on than meets the eye.
That is so true. NASCAR's pickup trucks have also played home to some of the sport's most interesting newcomers. Among them were Roger Mears and Walker Evans, 2 names better known in the aforementioned Score off-road racing circles.
Yeah, those are huge
know those names?
I do. I recognize those
I don't know
names.
those names. They're big though?
They're big. Walker Evans Racing is like huge in off-road. Yeah.
Prior to trying his hand at NASCAR, Roger Mears won the Baja 1000 4 times, raced in the then unpaved Pikes Peak International Hill Climb 5 times.
Oh, that's sick.
And competed in the Mickey Thompson Stadium Series for off-road trucks.
We talked about that in our Mickey Thompson episode. Check it out.
I love stadium super trucks.
Yeah, they're sick.
We tried to watch one after the IndyCar race, and there was 3 laps before someone crashed into the fence and took the fence out, and then they couldn't race anymore.
Yeah.
Those things are wild.
Yeah. As an Australian, you gotta love stadium super trucks, huh?
Love them.
Just stereotyping Jimmy, huh? That's what we do here.
Yeah, I'm Australian, okay? Maybe I like trucks going and jumping stuff. All right?
Over in kangaroos.
Maybe I like Vegemite too.
It's like that trucks are kangaroos, mate.
Can't get enough.
So Roger Mears' colleague Walker Evans won the Baja 1000 5 times and was another perennial competitor in stadium series races and other off-road events. Following their friends who helped create the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, both Evans and Mears tried their hand at stock truck racing in the early days of the sport, but it has to be said that neither were nearly as successful on pavement as they were in the desert. Mears managed a best finish of 16th in the 4 races he campaigned in 1995, so not that great.
Trying it out, though.
But Evans stuck to it a little bit longer, racing 18 of the 20 first season races and scoring 1 top 10 finish. So he's in the points. In 1996, he raced 23 of the 24 Craftsman races, failing to qualify for 1, but nabbing 3 top 10 finishes overall.
Nice. Okay.
Both of these guys went back to off-road racing after their stint in NASCAR, but Mears' son Casey has had a decently successful stock car career, most recently competing in the 2019 Cup Series.
Okay. I see you.
These guys were dirt racers, and they got a call, and they were like, hey, you guys want to come race? Yeah, is it on dirt? No, asphalt. And they were just like...
Is it like loose asphalt, though?
No, it's packed.
Can you slide?
Kinda.
Are there any spectators you could turn into pink mist?
Unfortunately, they are protected by a sophisticated safety system.
What do you mean?
Well,
Not on dirt.
Get back to you. As a relatively transient race league, the Craftsman Truck Series hosts a number of new faces each season. Bill Lester, who raced from 2000 to 2007, was the first black driver to achieve a pole position in the Craftsman Truck Series in the 2003 season.
Nice.
Surprisingly, he doesn't have a traditional racing origin story. Instead of growing up in the pits and racing karts and buggies every weekend, Lester was a software engineer for Hewlett-Packard.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, you never know, man.
This dude's cool looking.
His skills as a racer became apparent in the 1980s, racing in SCCA events on the weekends, and in 1989, he took a seat in an IMSA GTO car at Sears Point Raceway in Sonoma, California.
Wow.
After another 9 years of racing success on the weekends, he left HP and pushed his way behind the wheel full time.
Nice.
Love that.
That's awesome. That he's like a little bit older in life, is already successful as a programmer. Was like, I want to do my passion, and gets into racing and is very successful. That's such a cool story.
No more printers.
No more printers. Yeah. Low on toner. Never again. Despite having no contacts in NASCAR and none of the generational prestige of a Petty, an Earnhardt, or a Wallace, Lester soon found some time behind the wheel of a Craftsman truck, racing one event in 2005 and 2001. In 2002, however, he earned some real recognition competing full-time in the series with 4 top 10 and 4 top 5 racing starts. He was even named the runner-up Rookie of the Year at age 41.
Wow.
That's like that show, that cop show, The Rookie.
Yeah.
With, Nathan Fillion. Yes.
Nathan Fillion.
I believe that character is named Nolan.
Really?
With a D?
I'll have to watch that. I do love that Nathan Fillion.
So Lester's 2003 pole position at the Hardee's 200 at Charlotte Motor Speedway also made him the first black driver since 1962 to lead a NASCAR race and only the second in history.
Wow.
Speaking of motorsport.com after the qualifier, Lester was clearly grateful.
It's overwhelming. This is really the culmination of a dream I've had to race in professional motorsports. My wife believed in me when she let me pursue this dream to make it happen. Since then, there's been trials and tribulations, but I wasn't complete because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do with my life. I'm doing something here that a lot of people didn't think I could do.
That's awesome.
That's really admirable. Despite no previous over-racing experience, Lester drove 21,228 laps in a Craftsman truck over the course of his career, retiring after the 2007 season to race sports cars once again. He returned to the Camping World Truck Series briefly in 2021, competing at age 60 in a one-off appearance at his home track of Atlanta Motor Speedway, where he finished 36th.
That's sick.
He probably had so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He
Woo, back at it.
back in the saddle.
While Lester and other competitors enjoy success in trucks before vaulting to other NASCAR series or racing disciplines, there's one Craftsman driver who is content to stay put and win and win and win and win some more. His name,
Yeah, I'm pretty content to win and win and win.
Give me some more wins.
Ron Hornaday Jr. was there from the beginning, starting in the 4th Super Trucks exhibition race and each of the TNN Winter Heat Challenges before starting the 1995 season with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
It's ironic because all the heat is gone in winter.
Hornaday Jr. raced in every single Craftsman Truck race from 1995 to 1999, racking up 25 total wins out of the 123 races in those first 5 seasons. He did spend some time racing Cup cars from 2000 to 2004, but returned to race every single truck event from 2005 to 2013 before his retirement from trucks in 2014 and from NASCAR overall in 2015.
Dang, he showed up.
He sure did, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hornaday Jr.'s success shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, though. His dad, Ron Hornaday Sr., was an early stock car racer, capitalizing on his employment at the parts counter at Galpin Ford in Los Angeles.
Galpin, friend of the channel. Bo Bachman.
Bo Bachman.
Good old Bo.
Sponsored by his employer, Senior raced in the 1955 NASCAR Grand National at the Arizona State Fairgrounds, and he later won the Pacific Coast Late Model Series title in 1963 and 1964. So, when Junior started winning local titles in the early 90s, no one was shocked. His motivation, however, was maybe a bit less glamorous than one would expect of an accomplished racing driver. Quote,
This guy's from L.A.
Okay. I'll just say it normally, this one. Or I'll put a little spin on it.
I can't wait for Jimmy's spin on this L.A. guy.
Putting food on the table.
Hornaday said when describing what made him so successful.
You got to run good. You don't get paid unless you run good. And I got a percentage of how we finished, and you know how at least getting new shoes on Monday morning if you won the race.
I love your spin on that, dude.
Yeah,
That was a good
It's like
spin.
an LA surf dude.
Uh-huh. A little bit of Southern twang in
God,
there because
dude,
he
putting
travels
food
around
on the
South.
table.
Yeah.
Gotta
Aw,
run
dude.
good.
That's him laughing.
Hornaday Jr. took Craftsman Truck Series wins in 96, 98, and 2007, and a Camping World Truck Series title in 2009, backing that up with 55 total wins in the league, a record until 2019, when Kyle Busch took the lead.
Rowdy.
Don't feel too bad for Hornaday Jr., though. He was the first Truck Series driver to earn a spot in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, joining the class in 2018.
Whoa. That's cool.
Whoa.
Radical.
Oh, dude.
Oh.
Oh, dude.
It's the first thing I'm going to say when I get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it's like such a surprise.
That's radical.
Hornaday isn't the only familiar face around the Truck Series paddock. Jennifer Jo Cobb has been racing in NASCAR pickups since 2008, appearing in at least one race every season.
Huh.
Since her debut, Cobb has raced in a whopping 232 races for the Craftsman Truck Series, while also juggling occasional appearances in the one-tier up NASCAR Xfinity Cup.
Nice.
Her best finish in the Craftsman Truck Series was a 6th place appearance in the 2011 Next Era Energy Resources 250 at Daytona.
What a mouthful that is.
Not, I mean, that's got to be worse than just naming it the 250 at Daytona sponsored by Next Era.
Yeah.
You know? Please hire us to do your marketing. This is horrible. Cobb is also one of the few female team owners at NASCAR, with JJC Racing campaigning part-time in the Truck Series since 2010.
Nice.
In that time, the team has campaigned 4 different trucks in a total of 310 different races. Today, JJC Racing is the only team in the Craftsman Truck Series to be solely owned by a woman, although a handful of others are managed by husband and wife duos, which is really cute.
That's cute.
Cool.
While Cobb's ubiquity in the Craftsman Truck Series is impressive, she wasn't the first woman to shatter the ceiling. That honor belongs to one Tammy Jo Kirk, who competed in 32 total races in the 1997 and 98 seasons. Kirk's best finish in the Craftsman Truck Series was 11th at the 97 Lund Look 275K road race in Topeka, Kansas.
Huh. All right.
275
I think it's 275.
kilometer?
There's no way.
It is kilometers.
What?
Why'd they do that?
Why'd they do that?
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Again, we can do your marketing. Just hit us up at Donut Podcast.
It'll be a really quick consultation call.
Yeah. As veteran drivers have retired, the Craftsman Truck Series is getting rowdier and rowdier, full of eager rookies looking to cut their teeth. Haley Deegan, the youngest member in NASCAR's 2017 Next Class, began undergoing driver development with Toyota and then Ford, and in October 2020, she competed for the first time in the Craftsman Truck Series. That was a huge deal, racing in a single event and achieving 16th place.
Hell yeah.
The best debut result by a female driver in history. Deegan, who is incidentally the daughter of freestyle motocross star Brian Deegan.
Metal Mulisha?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And now races full-time in the Xfinity Series. Yeah, she actually wears those spiked shoulder pads as well.
Really?
Cool.
No,
Oh.
that's what Brian Deegan did.
Oh,
he had
okay.
he would wear his shoulder pads, like no jersey, but had like metal
What?
spikes on
Yeah.
his
He looked
shoulder
like he was in Guar.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Sounds like a safety hazard.
I mean, dude,
Yeah, one of those
that's what the
spikes
metal,
come
what?
off.
You're going to tell the crusty demons and the metal militia to get serious about safety, dude?
You're going to walk up to the crust demons and say, be more safe?
Guys, I
Yeah.
think we
Good
need
luck.
to
Yeah,
huddle
right.
for a safety meeting.
Yeah, right, dude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, freaking right. Taking over the reins for her as a Craftsman Truck Series standout newcomer is none other than Raja Caruth.
Hell
We
yeah,
talked about this guy.
Raja. Trying to get him on the big 3.
That'd be great. Please. This young driver learned about stock cars in a very odd place, Pixar's Cars, which led to his interest in racing. His family fundraised a sim rig when he was a junior in high school, and he soon started impressing anyone following along in the eNASCAR Ignite series. In 2019, before he'd even gotten a driver's license, Caruth got a shot at driving a Legends car, which is essentially a scaled-down stock car that can go about 70 miles per hour. They're like a little longer than this table.
Whoa, that's fun as hell.
And they look like old, like 30, like an old coupe, like an old hot rod, not like a stock car.
I want to
cool.
do that.
We should do that because it looks fun as hell. His performance in that one-off race and his quick hands, which he attributes to iRacing, were impressive enough that he became the first ever NASCAR Drive for Diversity participant to be accepted without any actual on-track experience. And since that 2019 debut, he's risen through the ranks to race late model cars, basically NASCAR's AA minors equivalent, and in the ARCA series called, which is like the AAA. And then finally in national events, he raced 6 Xfinity Series races in 2022 and 5 in 2023, as well as 4 Craftsman Truck races in 2022 before going full-time the next year. Current Cup Series driver Bubba Wallace seems to take a keen interest in Caruth, openly supporting his success from the beginning. And as a mentor, Wallace is just as adept at supporting and scolding Caruth when appropriate.
Yeah, have you seen that video?
That might be
like
from
a
this
John Boy.
incident right here. So
Oh, yeah.
when the young racer caused a massive pileup at the 2024 Fresh from Florida 250 at Daytona International Speedway, Wallace took him to task and admonished him to race clean and take responsibility for his actions.
He said, "This ain't no video game."
The advice seems to have stuck. In an interview, Caruth told a local news station, quote,
As a competitor, I pride myself on trying to do things fairly in the right way. And then outside of the racetrack, I know that I fortunately have the opportunity to make positive change. So that's where my priorities lay outside of the sport as well. Just pay my dues and use my platform for the things that I deem good.
And it seems like Carruth is keen to learn more from the older kids in the club. Other racers say that he sticks around all weekend, even after Friday's truck race is over, to learn from Xfinity and Cup Series drivers. That spongy, absorbent mindset is working. Carruth's Truck Series win at the third race of the 2024 season made him the third black driver in NASCAR history to capture a major series checkered flag after Wendell Scott in the 1960s and 70s, and Bubba Wallace also won his first race in the Truck Series as well.
Hell yeah.
That's really cool.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is changing, albeit gradually, to embrace new technology and performance. Calling these vehicles stock cars is an utter misnomer, as they share very, very little with their showroom spec equivalents. Not even the engine manufacturer is the same. And while some may decry that one-size-fits-all blueprint, including the OEMs themselves, there's no denying that there's a pretty positive result of that relative uniformity. In recent years, there's been a new era of driver development. NASCAR superfan Brad Hansen has been following stock car racing since the 1990s, and in that time, the focus has shifted away from manufacturers and toward individuals. We're talking Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, and yes, truck stars like Ron Hornaday Jr. and Raja Carruth. Given the same blank canvas as every other competitor, these folks are making the race about themselves, not the vehicles they're driving. Hansen said,
Before you'd root for your favorite people, yes, but you'd be also rooting for your favorite manufacturers, the guys who built whatever car you drove. Now it's all about the drivers.
and while the pickup-bodied Craftsman Truck Series racers may look and sound like dinosaurs, the level of innovation, rule bending, and inclusivity are decidedly tops among the three major NASCAR series, making the sport safer for crews, more fun for fans, and all around better for everyone involved. Now let's see if we can get an F-150, Silverado, or Tundra to compete in Le Mans next year, huh?
Ooh, there's an
let's try
idea.
to do that.
Like the Garage 56 last year with the Cup car.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
No listener mail this week, but in lieu of that, I want to thank you again for just supporting the show and listening every week and all the kind messages that we get down there in the YouTube comments or in our DMs and just stuff like that. Again, we're doing the episode. This is like our 242nd episode. I mean, won't be long until we're doing episode 300. So just thank you again for all your continued support. And thank our crew as well. We got Gavin Kinzel, Audrey Holden, Nick Giamuso, and our writer this week, Brett Evans. Follow Joe on social media at Joe G. Weber. Follow Jimmy at RussellJimmy.jp. Follow me at Nolan J. Sykes. If you'd like, leave a review on iTunes as well, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Tell your family, tell your friends about the show.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is the best way to grow it.
It sure is.
If you liked it, spread the word.
Yeah, all right. With that being said, we will see you next time.
Should we go get that French toast?
Yes.